Tyran Fagan, Zimbabwe rugby player. Played for Zim. I'm a prop. Um, I started playing rugby when I was 13. Got into it through my dad. He played various club rugby games in Zim for like sports club and stuff. So rugby's always been in my family. But I only started playing rugby when we moved to South Africa. Um, so I started there. I actually started playing flank first, and then when I got to grade 8, I was one of the bigger kids in terms of my growth spurt and stuff. So the coach was like, "Oh, we need the strength and the size up front." And then from then on, I always played prop, and then I kicked on from there. So that's how I got into playing rugby.
And Simba Sirah,
Okay,
can you
so
introduce yourself to the rugby fans worldwide who follow
okay,
the
so
rugby Y?
so my name is Simba Sirah, and I'm a Sables national team player. I started playing rugby in Form 1 when I was 14 years. So back then it was just compulsory for every Form 1 to play rugby. So you had no option but to do it. But as soon as I joined, I started to enjoy it. Then when I was now 16, I got into the junior teams, the national junior teams set up. Since then to now, I've been like playing for the national team. Then um I really started enjoying rugby when I was called back from Poland around 2023 to play for the Go Shocks, and I think that was the spotlight of my rugby since that's when they noticed me and I was called to play for the Sables from there.
All right, gents, let's get into the bones. The World Cup draw came out last week when Group F, we got England, Tonga, and Wales. What's your take on the draw?
I think it's a very tough draw in terms of the quality of the teams that have been put in. England, obviously, they've been there, they've done it, they've won the World Cup. Wales, they've been at the top of world rugby, so it's not an easy team. Obviously, they're going through their problems now. And then Tonga's always been at a World Cup, and they're a threat. They're just big boys that like to be physical and hard. So I think it'll be an interesting pool. It's one that excites me. So I think it's a good group to be in to test yourself at that level.
Yeah, definitely. I also think the same, and it's pretty much an interesting group. It gives us a chance to see where we are on the world stage, and if we play those kind of games and play those kind of teams, that's when we can really gauge and see how Zimbabwe rugby is really in.
For fun times, New Zealand, South Africa are the top teams are not in our pool. Which team would you have fancied to face?
I think me and Sims and Bonnies and most guys were talking, yeah, that we would love to have faced the All Blacks for the haka personally, because not many people can say they've physically faced the haka. Yes, you've seen it on TV or you sat in a crowd, watched it, but facing it and knowing you have to play them would have been an incredible an incredible experience.
All right.
Just to understand this, so the draw is out. So if you look, you guys are playing in Spain. Of course, we're in the same group as Spain. So in terms of us trying to win a match at the World Cup, are you guys thinking along those lines? If yes, which teams are you going to try and target in terms of trying to get that victory at the World Cup in 2027?
Yeah, we obviously go into every game wanting to win. I don't think anybody wants to lose. And even before we qualified, we said we want to go to the World Cup, not just to participate, but also to try win a game. Because I don't think Namibia's won in the World Cups that they've been at. So I would say we have to be realistic, but one game's achievable, definitely. I would say maybe Tonga. It will be a game with our style compared to their style. They're big boys. With the Zim fitness and stuff, I think we can maybe target that one. It'll be difficult. Every game will be difficult. But if I had to target one, probably Tonga.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with the setup that we're going to be playing the World Cup with, each and every game is going to be important because there will be, at the end of the day, there will be the point system. So the points you receive also as and the end on the end score line are very important for you to proceed to the next stage. So each and every game will be looking forward to compete and have a very good score.
Next year, we are in the Nations Cup. We open up with Tonga in July. How important would that game be?
Well, knowing that they're in our pool at the World Cup, it becomes even more important because now we can gauge where each team is and their strengths and weaknesses. So it not only becomes an important game for next year's Nations Cup, but it becomes an important game for game plan leading into the World Cup because you never know where they're going to line up in your fixture. I think the fixtures for the World Cup get announced in February. So it'll be nice to know where you stand against a team like Tonga and where at what stage in the World Cup you'll face them.
Definitely. And I also think also it gives you an opportunity for you to see where you need to improve in terms of physicality or speed. In a game of rugby, one team can be dominant in terms of physicality, or another can be dominant in terms of speed. So it gives you an opportunity to see where you can showcase their weaknesses and explore their weaknesses also.
Maybe looking at where we are at the moment as Zimbabwe, would you say we've got a pronounced way of playing? So I'll give an example. The way the Japanese have gone through, of course, they professionalized their game. The structures are there, but you know that they've got very fast backs. But over the years, they've managed to create players in terms of even their scrum. So in terms of Zimbabwe, what would you say in terms of the way we play? If we talk about the box, you know that they've got forwards that bullies the other. They are very physical. But for Zimbabwe, what would you say about our style of play? Looking at the teams that will be playing with in this Nations Cup, whilst we're trying to prepare for the World Cup in 2027.
For Zim, we've always had athletes like athletic guys. So I would say for us it's speed and skill, and the element of surprise because I don't think people expect that when they see us first up. I mean, you've got Simba who's extremely athletic, good in the line out, can jump as quick for a lock, very quick. And then you got our backs. I mean, you got Eddie and you got Trevor, you got McNabb, all very fast, very skillful. And then you've got a guy like Ian Pryor, very tactical, very calming influence on the field. Guys like Brandon, very skillful. Mashawi bulldozer, but you'll never expect it. People might know him now after that final, but I would say we play a expansive, exciting brand of rugby.
True, I think you said basically most of the things, then I definitely have to agree with you there.
Let's talk about family. Did you get any words of encouragement before the World Cup qualifiers in Uganda?
Yeah. So my dad loved to follow me. My parents have always backed me, my mom, my dad. My dad watches every game I play here, watches every game I play for Zim. I'd say sometimes he's more involved than I am, because he's always wanting to know how things have gone, how are trainings, how's the body feeling, what do you need to improve on, and that sort of stuff. So always getting words of encouragement from all forms of family, my dad, my mom, grandparents, brother, sister. For the World Cup qualifiers, we had a video from family. My dad and my brother sent in one. Very inspiring, motivational, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
So in terms of words, what did your father or your family say to you? Something that stuck with you on your way to Uganda to say, you know what, this is the big moment that we're all waiting for. If you guys win, if you're motivated enough, it means Zimbabwe will be going to the World Cup for the first time in 30 years.
Yep. So I think we all knew what was coming in terms of the qualifiers. So the motivation was all along those lines. Well, if you win, you'd never know what you're going to get afterwards at a World Cup. Zim hasn't been to a World Cup since 91. So my dad was playing against those guys that went to the World Cup in 91. So the motivation was there with not many words having to be said about it. We knew what was coming. We knew the job at hand.
Definitely. And for my parents also, they would always tell me that pressure is a privilege. Pressure is only given to someone who the other person believes that they can do it. So it's actually a privilege to receive pressure. And each and every time my mom or my father gets an opportunity, they would tell people even at work about me playing rugby. So, it's something that they'll be proud of and they support so much.
So tell us, what was the mood when you arrived in Uganda, Kampala, before qualifiers? What was the mood in the camp?
Oof. I would say a lot of nerves because we knew that it's a knockout system. You lose the first game, you're out. So the pressure was Morocco, and I think we put a lot of pressure on Morocco because we knew that they would be our first game, and we had months to prepare for them. So we knew that it was our first game. A lot of their players are based in France, so the French rugby system is really strong. So we knew that it would be a tough game. So in terms of the pressure and leading up, I think it was very tense in camp. Like the sessions were very like accurate because we analyzed Morocco for months, more so than any other team because we didn't know who else to prepare for. So the pressure was on.
Yeah.
And in the semifinals,
I was just about to say, we knew that everyone was targeting us because we had won the previous one. So definitely for them to be the champions in the recent one, they definitely will be looking at us also. So we knew that eyes were on us. So we had to prepare each and every game. And since we were well prepared for Morocco from the start, since it's a knockout, you have to change your strategies also according to the next team that you're going to be playing in the semifinal.
in the semifinals, we had to come from the back. We're trailing at halftime. What did the technical team tell you guys?
Just hang in there. Like the pressure, like any team's got fitness and that for the first part of a game. So we knew our fitness was pretty decent. We had the athletic guys, so it was just about hanging in there, manage the big moments, which I think we did well in the second half, and just rely on the things that we had prepared for.
So in terms of the tactics that the Kenyans were employing, so if you look at that footage, they targeted prior since he was steering the ship. You could even see that they had this rush defense, and also they even would go for late tackles against prior, knowing that if they get to prior, they've almost won half the match. At halftime, was they talk along those lines to try and put the ball just behind their defense and then try and make sure that you minimize contact because everything for them, from where we're watching, we tell that they say, let's look at a subgroup. And if we're on subgroup, probably Zimbabwe will flinch.
Sims?
Now, those kind of talks will just then fall back to like the initial game plan. Uh, as in like you have a game plan that is tried and tested. So in those situations where you are points back and it's already half time, the technical team will just definitely tell you to go back, stick to the game plan, and for Ian Pryor, if they're targeting him, they'll just tell them to adjust accordingly so that they can wave through a way to go through about that.
And in the final, both of you are part of that famous last scrum that secured us that historic ticket to Australia 2027. Did you talk as a pack before scrumming down that let's give it all?
Yeah, we definitely spoke as a pack. I think the guy that was leading that was Simba Madioma. He said, "This is the last one. This is for Zim. There's no holding back in this one. We're going to go for it." Um, so we were all pumped up because Simba was pumping us all up, and I think we knew what was coming because it was their last shot. So we just had to give it a full crack, and it worked out in our favor.
Okay, just to take you back to that moment, it's a pity that your roommate was to be with us had to go somewhere. And did that help that you have played together with Gwinji? And now that's the moment that you know if you win this scrum, it means you're almost there. Take us through that talk now of the front rowers and more importantly, talking about you and Gwinji, I mean, how you play together and that crunch moment, now doing it for your country.
Well, with me and Bornies, we've been some places together. We obviously play here in Spain together, so we knew what we needed to do. And not taking away from Simba Mandioma, I think I've played every Sables cap I have with him, and he also plays here in Spain. So we played against him. So us three are very well accustomed to each other. Me and Bornies, we know what we do here, so we were like pretty much just do the same. We'll be fine as long as we just stick together. And with Simba being so hyped up and stuff like that, we were going to give that scrum a crack. Unfortunately, they collapsed. Otherwise, we were gonna give it our all. I mean, it's the last scrum. After that, there's no holding back.
So when the referee blew the whistle for that infringement, you guys were down. Did you think it was because you'd won the scrum? You know, there are two things when the referee blows, you're waiting for the signal. So tell me what's going through your mind, hold it down, that did you win the scrum or we are the guys who have been penalized?
Well, you never know. A scrum is difficult to call. So you never know what the ref had seen. It might not have been you. It might have been something else. So I think there's a photo of me after the scrum collapsed, and my bind's up, and my head is looking at the ref just to see which way the call had gone. But just before I looked up, I didn't need to look at the ref's arm because I had Blythe and everybody celebrating behind me. So I knew it was our penalty. But there was a brief moment where you're like, oh, it's collapsed. What has the ref seen? But I knew it wasn't me because I knew we had done some analysis on their scrum and we knew that they like to extend or overextend on the engage. So I think we took the hit and then they overextended, so it collapsed. And I knew it wasn't me because I hadn't done anything incorrectly in my setup and my methods of getting ready for the scrum. I hadn't done anything wrong. I knew I had to have my bind up. I knew I had to have my feet holding my weight and stuff like that. I didn't collapse. So I knew that I hadn't done anything wrong, but it's just which way the ref had put his arm. But it was a big relief when I thought it was ours.
And has that sunk in now that we qualified for the World Cup 2027 at a personal level and at a team level?
Sim?
I think not fully. I think it hasn't sunk in fully, but for now, I think most people are focusing more on the preparation and making sure when the time comes, they'll be ready for the assignment. And right now, it will be the pressure to make it to the Nations Cup, since we'll be playing also teams that we're going to be playing against in the World Cup. So making it for the team that's going to play in the Nations Cup is very important because it gives you an outlook to see what you can, as an individual, what you can prepare, what you can fix also. So bit by bit, it's sinking in because we're also doing some processes that are needed by World Rugby for us to be competing that side. So definitely, I think slowly but surely it is.
For me, yeah, not it hasn't really sunk in because it's still a long way away. Yes, we've achieved it, but I think it'll sink in fully once we actually get there and are in the tournament and also have faced these quality opposition leading up, I think then I'll sink in knowing what we've actually achieved.
And Simba Sirah, you've joined Bornwell Gwinji and Tyran Fagan. How welcome were they when you joined the team?
Yeah, definitely, they were definitely welcome. And, I didn't even feel the difference of moving from a different club. It was just like the same thing as I do when I go back to camp in Zimbabwe. Because when you come to a place and there are already people you're familiar with and who already know the place, you don't even need a month to adjust. It'll be just like catching up from where you ended. So it was pretty much a very good thing for me for them to be here and having two, not just one. It was a blessing actually.
And did they give you any tips where, rugby fans and food, you're the best of friends? Did they give you any tips where you can get some nice food there?
Definitely. That's the first thing that I asked when I got here because food is very important. And the first day I actually got here, we went out, had some food also. So yeah, most of the things they'll be said in Spanish. So if there's something they definitely know that I like, they'll tell me to get that one since I'm not yet well versed with the Spanish language.
Tyron, how good is your Spanish? And then also let's look at you have traversed South Africa, England, and Spain. So in terms of the level of rugby, if you're looking at what you learned in England, now in Spain, and then looking at where Zimbabwe is, can you just take us through the level of rugby and what then it has helped, how it has helped you to become the player that you are now?
My Spanish, I would say it's pretty good. My understanding is a lot better than my speaking, which is, I think, the normal progression. But I'm speaking a lot more now, which is good. And then the level here in Spain is actually really good because it's not just Spanish guys that you're playing against, it's guys from New Zealand, Australia, England, lots of South Africans here. So with players like that from those countries that are used to playing rugby, you'll automatically think the level will be a lot better. And with Spain qualifying for the World Cup as well, you can see that the level's pretty decent. I think they ranked 14th in the world, so it's pretty high up. And they have guys in their national team that obviously had a stepping stone in Spain, which got them big contracts in France. So the level here is really good. I would compare it to like some of not the top levels in France, but definitely the national levels is the kind of level that we are currently at now. Um, and then what I've learned from England and stuff like that has obviously helped me become a Sable, obviously. Um, Zim's got some very talented players that just need a bit of um, direction. They're athletes already, so I think Zim needs to uncover some talented players that they do have, which just need the right directions and a bit of motivating or somebody just to spot them, and then the world's their oyster. Because what I learned in England and in South Africa, playing at the Sharks Academy and stuff like that. So I played in Australia for a season and a bit in Germany, and every little bit that you learn from a certain place that you've been grooms you to be the person that you are now. So um, it's been a good experience. Rugby has shown me quite a bit of the world already. So it's incredible to know that a sport can show you that, and I'm extremely grateful for it.
And Sirah, days, anything you can pick from training methods, playing styles between Poland and Spain?
Definitely. And I think when I was in Poland, the playing style was definitely different because they relied mostly on physicality. And in Spain, this side, it's more of skill. So it's actually a good mix of both because when I was playing in Poland, you get to see the physical part of rugby and you experience that and you get physical also, you know. Then when you come to Spain, yeah, your skills also they are sharpened. So you'll be a complete human being, you'll be physical and you also gain the skill part of rugby. And I think it's actually it's needed also so that you're just not a one-sided back cake.
So you're just new to the club. So in terms of the goals, what goals have you set for yourself? What would you say would be a perfect season for you as you adjust to this new league?
Okay. My goals definitely they'll remain big and I'll always focus on the bigger picture, which is playing in the World Cup. But whilst I'm here, I'm just aiming to improve 1% is each and every day to improve each and every time on my gameplay, on how I do things, how I play, so that the ultimate goal by the end of the season is I'll be well prepared. So also looking at like the game time. I need to be game fit by the time we are called back to Zimbabwe. So those are the main things that I'm focusing on right now and making sure I'm fit and strong.
Then Tyran, Spain is famous for having good weather than other European countries. Christmas is around the corner. Anything planned to welcome Sirah's first Christmas in Spain?
Well, it's not as cold as I would say Poland was for him. So it's a little bit wetter, but the temperatures are a bit warmer. So in and around this time, yes, we get a bit of time off. I think we've got 2 weeks off, so it'll be good to like just experience a bit of like not just like the training ground and the gym, maybe get out a bit and go experience like the Christmas markets and that sort of stuff. So maybe just time together, good food, walking around, experiencing winter and Christmas together because normally in Africa it's always sunny and warm. So just get out a bit, experience different cultures and stuff like that.
You mentioned food. Will there be tapas?
Yeah, well, it's pinchos, yeah. So it's tapas is like um, finger foods and stuff like that. They call it pinchos, yeah. So yes, definitely there'll be lots of that. If you got a sweet tooth, Basque cheesecake, it's
Yeah.
quite world famous. I think Simba had his first piece not so long ago, and yeah. So I would say that like the foods that are close to the region that we're in, we'll try a lot of that.
Syria, you, now that you're in a new culture, in terms of food, we know that Spain has got some very good delicacies. Maybe you can share with us some of the things that you really liked about your new country.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Okay, I was just asking in terms of food and even places, which kind of foods have you fallen in love with now that you're in a new country and as you are adjusting?
Oh, okay, okay. Um, I think for now, what I'm doing is I'm definitely going for the foods that I know mainly. But now the way they make them will be just definitely different. Because now, like for the pinchos, that ones I definitely try those ones. The Basque cheesecake, I really enjoyed that one, but I definitely know I'm not supposed to be having that. So it will be once in a while meal, that kind of thing. So most of the things like the chicken, how they just prepare it and all those kind of things will be different. But for now I'm just going for the things that I know. Once in a while, that's when I'll be experimenting.
Tyrone, have you made that one big dinner for the new team? You and Gwinji, three Zimbos in Spain, maybe salsa, a bit of fry, or salsa with what we famously call this side hybrids, which is your beef mixed with vegetables.
So we haven't had a meal together, all three of us, but me and Bonnie live together, so we're always eating together. I cook quite a lot for us. I've been on at Bonnie's. This is the third season that we're playing in Gernika. I've been on at Bonnie's to make me some sadza, but I haven't got the idea of how to make good sadza. Yes, I've had good sadza and stuff. I'll cook the nyama and stuff like that, and Bonnie's must just cook me some sadza, but we haven't had sadza yet. Bonnie's keeps telling me he'll make it, but I'm waiting. But no, we haven't had a meal together yet. But maybe next week because we're nearing the end of the year. I think next week's our last game for the season, and then we've got a 2 week break. So maybe next week we'll have a meal together.
So whilst Bonnie is not here, so let's just speak about Bonnie. So in terms of you guys staying together, you know, we've had a lot of stories where people share a room together during a tournament. Some people prefer the other guy over the other guy. So in terms of who is the smartest in that household of yours, and who does the most? So we've heard that you're the chef in terms of cooking. So what does Bonnie do in terms of you guys staying together?
So normally, if I cook, whoever cooks, mainly I do the cooking, and then Bonnie's will do the washing up. But because me and Bonnie's are quite clean people, so we like to have a clean house. So the house is always clean. So there's no issues there. But we see each other a lot, obviously, because we live with each other, we gym together, we train together. So when we have a bit of off time, Bonnie's always in the lounge watching a series or something. I'm in my room watching a series. And then like we invite some boys around and we always play cards or something like that. So we do share a lot of time together, me and Bonnie. So I'm pretty sure you can see the connection on the field sometimes. Um, but living with him has been incredible. Like we've never had we don't headbutt about anything. So it's good.
And guys, what do you miss the most about home?
The food, the meat, the biltong, the sadza.
Yeah, definitely.
And you, Sirah?
It'll be similar to me also the food and also the family, you know. This side, you'll be coming from training at around 8 and you'll be thinking about cooking also. You'll be like, "Eish, only if I was home there," and you'll be like, just check something if there's something on the stove. Yeah, that's kind of things they catch up now when you're this side.
So are you guys coming back home after the final game of the season, or you're just going just enjoy holiday whilst you are still there in Spain?
Are you talking about now for Christmas or for after the season, May,
For
June?
Christmas.
Christmas, I think I'm going to go for a week to France to visit a friend. I've been spending Christmas with him for probably the last 3, 4 years. And he stays in Bordeaux, which is like 3 hours from here. So normally I meet up with him, and maybe for the Christmas period, I'll spend with him. He's also a Zim Sable, an ex-Zim Sable, Rian O'Neill, played sevens for Zimbabwe as well. So I always catch up with him.
Yeah, and then for me,
It's your first Christmas in Spain.
I just arrived recently, so I'm just still thinking about if I'm gonna come back or stay this side. But my brother is having an event in December also, so I'm also thinking of attending that one. I haven't decided fully on whether I'm gonna do so or not. So in the coming weeks, I'll definitely know.
And any light moments you can share the fans, which happen either at training or during a match, or funny moments.
Funny moment during a match. Uh, I still remember during the final. We were just close to the rock with bunnies, you know, and they were about to kick. We're just standing there looking at each other, hoping it doesn't go in. And I think that field suddenly changed into a church or something. We were just praying and hoping that he misses that kick. As soon as he missed that kick, me and Bonis, we celebrated as if the game was already over, you know, and game was still in play. Then we just then realized afterwards that, oh, we're actually in a game. Let's get back into it. But during that moment, we were just standing next to each other, hoping the kick doesn't go over.
Fagan.
Funny moments for me. Oh, I don't know if it's funny because he didn't deserve it. A couple of weeks back, Borny's got given a red card for handing off a player, and they said he struck the player in the face with a fist. Um, so he came to me, he's like, I could be in trouble. I was like, for what? And he's like, I handed off the guy. So I was like, Bonnie's, how can you be in trouble for handing off a guy? He's like, I don't know. The guy's on the floor crying. So I was like, ah. Then the ref comes, gives Bonnie a red card for striking the player in the face. Yet everybody, even the other team, knew it wasn't a punch, but he got a red card. So I don't know if it was funny. It was just Bonnie's the way he looked at me and says, I could be in trouble. And then I was like, for what? A handoff? He's like, yeah, I don't know. Because the guy's still on the floor crying. So
Okay, guys. So let's talk about what you guys have achieved as Sables. So what do you think this qualification for the 2027 Rugby World Cup will do as far as our structures, the general outlook for Zimbabwe Rugby? I'll start with you, Sirah.
I think this qualification is it's opening a lot of doors for us, you know. There's also great recognition. You know, a lot of people now know about Zimbabwe playing rugby and what we have done also, you know. So playing at the world stage, it pushes also the governance to also produce like world-class stadiums, playing platforms also. So it's actually good for the whole of Zimbabwe. People will be playing on good grounds, and also for the local league also, you know, it'll be more competitive and people will be aiming to play for something that's actually great. So I think the qualification has done a lot of great things for Zimbabwe rugby in general as a one.
yeah, I think us qualifying is obviously a big achievement for them. I think the last time was 91. So for us qualifying for the players that do go, it'll open doors big time for them in terms of different levels that they can play at. This brings a whole lot of eyes onto Zimbabwe as a nation. In terms of like locals, they'll see that it's achievable. Young kids, they can see that they got something that they can work towards. Um, so I think us qualifying definitely puts Zim Rugby on the map.
Uh, 2 years is a long time between now and the World Cup. What would it mean if you eventually make the touring party, which is going to go to Australia? There are now names popping up, certain players now available. Competition is now at stake. What will it mean if you make it?
Um, for the players now, it doesn't seem as if it's 2 years, you know, because you definitely have to prepare for the Nations Cup also. And Nations Cup is going to play twice, July and November. So the bigger picture, of course, is the World Cup, and it'll be in about 2 years. But it all starts next year, July. So the 2 year time frame won't feel like that as a player now, since the training for the build-up of the World Cup will be starting July. But being chosen to play in the World Cup will be a great success because that's what we've been looking forward to, and that's what we qualified for. You know, it's so good to finish what you have started. So I think that's everyone's goal right now.
For me, if I could make the World Cup, definitely it's been a goal since I've started for Zim in 2019. I went through the last qualifiers and I knew how heartbreaking it was. And to eventually do it is definitely a dream come true. And knowing that that is a thing in the distant future, 2 years down the line, makes you work harder, makes you appreciate things more, and makes you know that um, it's achievable if you just work hard. So I don't think the work stops. I think you just work harder now to make sure that you definitely a name on the sheet when it gets announced. And with other guys coming in, we knew that it would happen because we've put Zim on the map now. So it just makes it, knowing that there is possible a possibility of other guys coming in, it just makes you train even harder. Competition is welcomed.
You guys, you are professionals. So within the rugby community, there have been arguments. Some will say we should have the bulk of the team that have helped us to qualify for the World Cup. Then the other school of thought, they are saying we want the best team possible when we go to Australia. So even if it means certain players that helped Zimbabwe to qualify for the World Cup won't make it into that team. So in terms of that school of thoughts from the fans, what would you say as the players that are involved currently?
You know, for that one, it's quite difficult to like say much because if you try to follow social media criticism and all those kind of things, it'll pull away from the main focus of actually preparing for that, you know. So as a player, what you can just definitely do is make sure you're the best player for that, and also make sure you're well prepared so that whenever they want to call out the squad, you'll be well prepared and be the best player, even if you also help in the qualification, you know. I mean, that's what I can say.
I would say for the group that did qualify for the World Cup, um, they're going to train even harder. So I would welcome the competition. Obviously, give the coaches a headache, obviously, to pick players. Um, but I would say the guys that qualified aren't just going to lay down and let somebody take the jersey away from them. It'll be because obviously it's a dream for everybody to go to the World Cup, and that's the reason why the group that we had went to the qualifiers is to achieve the World Cup. So it's a dream for everyone.
So if we're going to be talking about the legacy of breaking that long barren spell, now you guys have achieved something big. Maybe when you guys are much older, maybe grandparents, what would you want it to be the legacy of the qualification, not going to the World Cup, but what you guys have achieved? How do you want the later generations to say about this group that Pete and everybody else has put together and they managed to break that 33-year drought of not playing at the World Cup?
I would say a band of brothers that trained hard for each other, that never took a step back for anybody. We worked together. We're a close knit group, from players to management. We all got along. Obviously, yes, there's tough times, but for the legacy, it wasn't achieved. But we knew that if we worked hard, we would achieve it. And for a little country like Zimbabwe, with not many resources in terms of getting everybody they could, we achieved something big. I mean, it's a world stage, it's a big event. Lots of eyes will be on the World Cup, and the games that Zim do play, lots of eyes will be on us. So it's a big achievement for everybody involved.
Yeah. And I would definitely say that it's just a brotherhood who had set their eyes on one goal. And no matter what came on their way, they never wavered or changed their direction, you know. It's always good to say when you're now older or retired, to always look back and say, okay, this is where Zim is right now, and we are glad we're at the beginning of all the processes and how it started, you know. When you're sitting at that barbecue, those are the stories that you can be telling your kids. And yeah, It's definitely a great feeling.
And looking also ahead, will any of you like post-retirement in future, would you want to be involved in coaching or administration?
Yeah, I would love to give back to Zim, rugby in Zim. 100%. Love to, even if I'm not a coach, maybe to speak, maybe share ideas and stuff like that. Definitely, I'd love to be involved in some way.
Definitely. And I also feel the same way because, when you're playing rugby, you get an attachment to it. So just suddenly leaving and dropping it and doing something else would be quite difficult. So after retirement, I'll definitely come back and look for something to do that involves rugby in it.
As we start wrapping up, one of the key things that happened during this road to qualifying for the World Cup has been the welfare of the players, and we never had any strikes, any complaints from the players. Even the president, the government, also coming through with incentives. What can you guys tell us in terms of the morale which was brought by having only to worry about rugby, the issues of money, incentives, and even having the best places possible to enjoy the game? What can you say about that in terms of player welfare, which was put together by the Sables Trust and everyone else involved?
I would say that we didn't have a reason not to perform with the way that we prepared for this qualifier. Yes, we had to adapt with certain things like training facilities and bus times and that sort of stuff. But with the group that we had one goal in mind, which was qualifying. And I can say confidently that we were all pretty close with each other. So we knew that if we just adapt to the scheduling that we had, we knew we would achieve anything. I think there was a training session in Uganda where there was a thunder shower and it came down hard. And because there was lightning as well, we had to wait for that to clear. But while that was happening, we were having off-field meetings and stuff like that. So we had to adapt to certain things like that. But we never had a reason not to perform.
Yeah, and from my side also, I think player welfare was managed very well because the only thing that you get worried about is just knowing your detail, knowing what you're supposed to do in the field other than the externals that would actually like cause problems to your mental. So the only thing that would actually focus on was just rugby. And I think it was managed very, very well during this time.
So you guys haven't played in Zimbabwe ever since we qualified for the World Cup. If the powers that be were to organize a match maybe just before you guys fly out to the USA for the Nations Cup, what would it mean just to play in front of your home fans, where people obviously will come out just to salute you for the work that you guys have done in putting Zimbabwe back on the World Cup rugby map?
I would love to play in front of our people of Zimbabwe. Every time we have played there as a Sable, they come out and they support, they're loud, they love their team. So I would say I would love to play in front of them. I think they deserve a game like that so they can support us because they've been very supportive of the Sables.
Yeah, definitely. And I think right now, from when we were playing in Uganda, there were different watch parties that were being hosted in different places. And you could see that each and every one was packed with people who were watching and supporting. So right now, I think it'll be very, very good to actually have a home game where they can all come in one place and actually show love and support to the team.
And just to wrap it up now, guys, any final words to all Zimbabwe rugby fans worldwide?
Thank you. for all the love and support you have showed us, and we look forward to making you proud as we go on this journey together. Yes, it's going to be 2 years, but when we are there, we're gonna show the world something.
Definitely.
Yes, Sirah.
Okay. Definitely, I would just say thank you to the fans for the unwavering support that they gave us. You can feel it wherever you be playing that these guys are supporting and they will be there for you. So, as we prepare for all the games that are going to come, we definitely tell you that we're going to prepare very well and make you proud each and every step of it.
All right, guys, you're professionals. We don't want to steal a lot of time. You got a gym session to go to. But thanks
Yes.
for joining us on the Rugby Hour.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you for hosting us also.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.